welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode of Student of the Gun Radio. Now, we teased you with this about a little bit in part 1. We were talking about a new pistol or new pistol specifications from the FBI. But before we get into that, I want to say hey and welcome back from our new studios. Thank you for joining us for this episode. We're bringing it to you from the brand new Student of the Gun audio or / radio studios. It doesn't have to be just radio. You could do anything. You could do voiceovers. You could do anything in here. I'm in a glass case of emotion, and Jared's on the other side working on the board. He's got his smartphone and his smart computer and all that jazz, and he's ready to rock and roll. Now, Jared, are you ready to rock and roll? Did you turn off the distraction device there?
Yeah, I had to turn that off.
Yeah. It is amazing, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are not in the technical world, how much feedback and distortion you can get from a mobile device when you're trying to do radio. Believe it or not, you can get a lot. Can you not, Jared?
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Mine's like I saw a video the other day that was a dude that picked up a TV and was holding it to his ear, and his friend asked why he was doing it. He said, "Oh, it's my new Android device," because all the Androids
they're
are
so big now.
Yeah.
Shut up. All right, did we tease him long enough? We want to get into the new FBI pistol. All right, we've teased him long enough. All right, actually, it was last what? He's giving me the wave.
Yeah, have you taken SWAT fuel today?
Yeah, I did actually before I worked out.
Okay, because
am I going too fast?
Bidding, 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 bidding.
Well, actually, I did. I got up this morning and I went out into the Student of the Gun gym, into the House of Pain, and I did treadmill and I did dumbbells and I did. You know what else I did, Jared? You'll be proud of me. I did it all by myself without you encouraging or coaching me. I did a little bit of kettlebells.
Oh, good.
I actually did.
Did you use the man kettlebell?
I used the man kettlebell, and I did that one exercise that I remembered that you showed me. So the snatch it up and then push it up over your head and then come back down, and then I did that one. And then I did about 30 minutes worth of Gladius workout. So
and that's no joke. I did 30 minutes the one day, and my arm was pretty tired.
Yeah. Yeah, so and that's something that we've got coming up as part of our fighting fitness is the Gladius workout, both single-handed and two-handed. But let's talk about this the news from the Department of Justice. Now, if you guys know anything about how the federal government works, anytime they want to buy anything, whether it's a refrigerator or whether it's a satellite truck or whatever, anytime they want to buy something, they put out a bid for it. And sometimes they'll put out a solicitation, a pre-solicitation. Sometimes they put it out like one-time bid. It's all this nonsense that goes on in this federal bureaucracy. But essentially, it is notice, semi-automatic pistols. And I'll read it to you specifically from the notice. So you guys, all you naysayers out there, they're like, "Oh, that's bullcrap," or "That's not true," or "That's whatever." Just listen to what it says. It says, "This is a pre-solicitation notice of a proposed requirement for various commercial off-the-shelf semi-automatic pistols chambered for a 9mm Luger cartridge as defined by SAMI." This notice is issued solely for informational and planning purposes. The following types of pistols chambered to fire a 9mm Luger cartridge may be requested for testing and evaluation purposes under future solicitation. Class 1 pistol, barrel length between 3.75 and 4.25 with a minimum capacity of 13 rounds. Class 2 pistol, barrel length between 4.5 and 5.5 with a minimum magazine capacity of 15 rounds. Class 1 training pistol, red-handled, deactivated with full articulation, red receiver, and slide. Night sights, because it's very important to have night sights on a gun that does not fire any cartridges whatsoever. Class 1 man-marking gun, a.k.a. simunitions pistol, blue slide or blue with blue inserts. So those are the specs, all right? I know some of you have to get up off the floor. If you're back up off the floor now, you're like, you mean the FBI is they're putting out a solicitation for a 9mm service pistol? Yes. And we let the cat out of the bag here on Student of the Gun. Actually, late last night, yesterday, as you're hearing this, and people jumped all over it. And they're like, oh, great. It's going to be a SIG. It's going to be a Smith & Wesson. It's going to be a Beretta. It's going to be an H&K. It's going to be a Springfield. It's going to be a blah, 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 blah. Put the brakes on there, Springfield, HK, SIG fans. What does it say? You're like, whoa, basically the Class 1 pistol with a 3.75 to 4.2 barrel length, that's your compact pistol, right? Your detective model, your undercover model. And then the other one is obviously a full-size duty gun. Yeah. And there are a lot of guns out there like that. There are SIG guns and H&K guns and Smith guns and Beretta guns and a lot of them like that. However, what are the last two specifications? A red-handled, deactivated, fully articulated gun with a red receiver and a slide. How about this one? A Class 1 man-marking simunitions pistol with a blue slide and or blue or slide with blue inserts. So, all of you guys out there, all you fashionistas in the gun world, all of you guys who like to talk guns and think guns and smell guns and all that kind of stuff, riddle me this, Batman. What company on planet Earth currently manufactures every single thing to the specification of this pre-solicitation from the FBI? Time's up. I don't know every gun company on planet Earth, but I'm pretty hip to people that make duty guns and cop guns and service weapons. And I'm going to say, and you notice that nowhere in here did it give, did it say that it had to be an accuracy spec, and did it say that, yada, yada, yada. And it goes down through there and it says the current threshold is $100 million for 12 months with nine possible additional 1-year options and so forth and all that legalese, bureaucratic stuff. But there's nothing in there about drop tests. There's nothing in there about how the controls need to work. There's nothing in there about the accuracy requirements and so forth. So which gun company currently in existence makes all of those things? Well, there's only one, and it starts with a G, and it ends with a lock, and it's the G-Lock. Sorry, Smith & Wesson fans, they don't have red guns. They don't have red trainers. They don't have blue trainers. Sorry, SIG fans. Sorry, or like, oh, but you can put simunitions, conversion kits in all of them. It doesn't say simunitions, conversion kits. It says the gun is specifically made from the ground up to be a simunitions gun. Who makes those? How about the red gun? The fully articulated, deactivated red gun. Means it can't shoot live ammo, but for all other intents and purposes, it works and functions just like the real gun, so that your trainers can train people and use it. Who makes such a gun? And remember, this isn't conversion or custom. It says specifically, in quotes, off the shelf. Oh, and I know all you G-Lock haters are out there, and you're squirming in your chairs. You might have even driven off the road and had to correct your steering and get back on the road. You're like, oh, I hate those things. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. And you're stomping your little feet on the ground, and you're throwing a little mini temper tantrum, dude. Like them or hate them, it doesn't matter. There's one company that is making guns that fit all of those requirements. Now, could they change those requirements in the future? Yeah, it's possible. It is possible. But right now, it seems to me that this solicitation was specifically written so that the G-Lock 19 and the G-Lock 17 and the 17R And what do they call the 17, the blue one? They call it the 17B. Look up real quick, Jared. Look up glock.com. And I know what you other guys are doing. You're like, didn't they learn their lesson from the 1986 FBI Miami shootout? Now, a lot of you kids out there have absolutely no idea what that was because it happened on April 11th, 1986. And I understand that many of you weren't born there. And some of you were just little, crumb crunchers, or you were in diapers in 1986. But for those of us that were adults back then, and I was, I actually, way back when, 20-plus years ago, I did a research project for a school project when I was going to school about the FBI Miami shootout and what went down, who was involved, and so forth. And what we know from that a lot of things occurred after that day. And one of the things that occurred was the FBI did an after action, they did a case study, and so forth. And the case study came up with a lot of things, but where they hung their hat, or where they hung the guilt and blame, they hung the guilt and blame on the Winchester Silvertip hollow point. And at the time, in the early to mid-'80s, Winchester Silvertip hollow points were the law enforcement cartridge in the United States of America. Everywhere you went, agencies had Winchester Silvertip hollow points, whether it was 9mm or in their 357 mags, in their 38 specials, what have you. It was everywhere. And Winchester had a huge, huge piece of the law enforcement pie. Well, what happened? Well, they essentially pinned a great deal of the blame on that day on that cartridge for failing not to do what it's supposed to do, which those of us in the firearms industry, and especially the training industry and the end-user industry, realized immediately that was foolish. It's a handgun. A handgun is never going to be a rifle. I don't care what number it is, what number it starts with. I don't care what flavor it is. It's never going to be a rifle. If you want a rifle, get a rifle. If you want a handgun, because they're easy to carry, rock on, carry a handgun. But all this magic wizardry is never going to turn your little pocket pistol into an AR or an AK or what have you. It's never going to happen. So know your limitations. It's not that we shouldn't carry handguns. We should. But if you know you're going to a fight, as in you're on a stakeout and you're specifically looking for armed, bad, mean, nasty bank robbers, you probably should have rifles with you. Just saying. Go ahead, Jared. You got a thought on your brain there.
The blue Glock is called the 17T. The T for training.
T for training, for tango. So you've got a 17R, and I let me guess, it doesn't stand for red. It stands for realistic or something like that. Maybe it stands for red. What does the 17R stand for?
Hold on, let me look.
All right, so basically what G-Lock has in stock right now that they could deliver to the Federal Bureau of Investigation tomorrow if they needed to.
Reset pistol.
It couldn't be easy. So the red one is the 17R, and the R doesn't stand for red.
It stands for reset.
It stands for resetting trigger. Okay. Of course. Why would it not? It would be too simple for R to mean red. So yeah, G-Lock's got G19s, they got G17s, they have the 17R, and they have the 17T that they could deliver tomorrow. And anybody else who wants to be able to bid on this contract is going to have to ramp up and get that stuff available quick, fast, and in a hurry because, well, according to this is the archive date. So this pre-solicitation is good until December 31st of 2014, when it may change or it might be altered. But that's that, folks. And now, what do we know about the FBI and the type of hardware they choose? Well, in the United States military, you have the Army, and the Army chooses things. The Army is in charge of choosing the rifles and small arms and pistols and everything for the entire military. You guys know that, right? If the Army decides they want a handgun, everybody else gets that handgun. If the Army decides they want a certain rifle, Every other member of the armed forces gets that rifle. Now, obviously, there are special units, small units that get individual stuff, but as far as your standard big Army, big Navy, big Air Force, even Marine Corps always, at least when I was in, always got hand-me-down Army stuff anyway. Oh, so with the FBI on the civilian side, and FBI, there are civilians, they're not military. When the FBI decides that they want something or they're going to buy something, what happens all across America? Well, little Smith County, Georgia, or Jackson County, Ohio, or whatever, when it's time for them to buy guns, well, what happens? You've got a chief of police, you got a sheriff, a little local, they're going to buy 30 or 40 of them or 100 of them even. And what is a really super easy default for an administrator? Because let's face it, most chiefs and most sheriffs are administrators. They don't want to spend a whole lot of time and waste a whole lot of brain power picking out guns when they've got to deal with all kinds of other issues. Believe it or not, I know all you gun people are like, oh, they should spend more time talking about guns than anything else. Actually, it is the exact opposite. Chiefs and sheriffs and so forth, they don't want to spend a whole bunch of time and brain power and energy picking out service guns. They got a lot of other stuff to deal with, and that's probably one of the last things they want to mess with. So what is an super easy default? Pick whatever the FBI recommends. Bam. The FBI recommends this gun from this company. Boom. Good enough for them, good enough for us. Moving on. And that's how it works. Not all the time, but quite often it does. The FBI leads the way for American law enforcement for their choice of gear and hardware and ammunition and all that jazz. So look very soon, and you're like, oh, dude, well, they're going back to 9mm. Oh, I don't like a 9mm. It makes me squat when I pee. Okay, fine, whatever. Here's the good news for you, hippie. If you really got to have a 4 in front of your caliber, what this is going to do, if the FBI does, in fact, adopt regardless, they said they want a 9mm Luger handgun, whether it is a G-Lock or a Beretta or an H&K or a Smith or whatever it ends up being, expect your local sheriff's department and police department, when they do trade-ins, and they do all the time, departments do gun trade-ins quite often. And the great news for you dudes is what? Well, when they do trade-ins, what happens? All those cop guns, they go out of the cop's hands, they go into the hands of the company that did the trade, and then they get funneled out through a distributor like Century Arms or J&T Distributing or whomever. And so what happens? You get all these carried a lot, shot a little police trade-in guns start popping up for really, really good prices. Way less than you would ever pay for it new. I was just at Barney's Police Supply yesterday, Jared. Jared didn't go with me. I went and picked up a couple of inert trainers for our OC class, our inert OC class trainers. And they had...
Despite the amount of stuff we do together, there are times that we are not actually with each other.
Yeah, believe it or not. Barney's always has police trade-in guns in their little counter there, and I was looking. They had a trade-in 17 and a trade-in 19, which is rare anymore. Usually it's 22s and 23s, but I think they had 359 on the G17 or G17, yeah, and like 399 on the G19. You're like, oh wow, that's a lot for a police trade-in. Well, it kind of is, but here's the deal with G19s: you never find them in the used market. Jared, when's the last time you saw a used G19 anywhere?
In my hand.
Yeah, in your hand. But besides that, folks, they're kind of like used J-frames. It's not impossible, but it's darn near next to impossible to find a used J-frame. Believe me, I've looked. Because once people get them, they don't give them up. They hold on to them. And the same thing with G17s or G19s, I'm sorry. Very rarely do people give those up. They get them and they just keep them. But look very soon and you're like, well, people have already like, well, how's it going to affect the ammo market? Slow down, dudes. I don't think it's going to affect the ammo market that much yet because, quite frankly, it doesn't matter how many police officers buy guns and how much ammo police officers buy. the largest consumer of ammunition in the United States of America is the American gun consumer. It is the American citizen, by and large, by a long shot. We as American citizens buy way more guns and ammo than every agency in America combined, even with the feds trying to buy it all up. So we thought you guys would appreciate that. That is it's kind of an interesting development that's come out. And whether you like it, whether you hate it, whether you're throwing a tantrum in your car because it's the stupidest thing you've ever heard, it doesn't matter. The die has been cast, and quite frankly, for those of you who are not in the law enforcement community or law enforcement world, a lot of agencies have been slowly but surely going back to 9mm service guns for a long time now. All right, let's not forget about our good sponsors at Colt, makers of the LE901 rifle, our friends at Brownells, and you want to use the special Brownells promo code up until July 31st. That's PFV, Papa Foxtrot Victor. If you use that code, you get free shipping on any order of $75 or more. And don't forget about our new friends at SWAT Fuel. If you go to SWATfuel.com and you want to place an order right there, you want to be sure that you use the Student of the Gun promo code to save yourself some cash. And that is SOTG 2014, Sierra, Oscar, Tango, Golf 2014, all 8 numbers and digits in one, and you'll get 20% off of your total order. How cool is that? It's pretty darn cool because you're saving some money and you're getting some good stuff. And then finally, we don't want to forget about our friends at XS Sight Systems, the fastest sights in any light. All right, Jared, are we ready to move on and talk about a little bit of butthurt Democrat in here?
Yeah, let's talk about some, I guess this could technically be vagination, couldn't it?
Well, it could be a vagination report. Oh, yeah, go ahead and you want to give them one, Jared? Or
yeah, let's
we
go
have
ahead.
Another one lined up.
Let me look real quick. I think that we skipped it last.
No, we have another one lined up. We've got the one from Iowa.
Okay, well this one won't be vagination then, but it's right there on the line. It walks the line.
It walks the vagination line. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know we got them all excited. They thought they were going to hear Tiny Tim. They're going to have to wait.
They will. They'll just have to wait.
They will. You're going to hear them. Just keep your ears perked up. This story comes to us from theexaminer.com. And the title of the story is Right to Arms Isn't Only Freedom Progressives Want to Eviscerate. The right to arms isn't the only freedom progressives want to eviscerate. And according to the story, Representative Carolyn, I called her Carol earlier. Oh, well, she'll get over it. Carolyn Maloney of New York wants Capitol Police to investigate Gun Owners of America Executive Director Larry Pratt for it's not quite clear what the law she alleges he broke or what authorities even think they're going to do following her complaint. Well, what was Larry's offense? What did he say? Oh, Larry had the gall to say that the Second Amendment is for restraining tyrannical tendencies in government, especially those in the liberal tyrannical end of the spectrum. Whoa. So what Larry Pratt of Gun Owners of America pointed out was that the Second Amendment was put in place to protect the people against a tyrannical government, and that has got Maloney all butthurt. She wants him investigated. She wants the Capitol Hill Police to investigate him for saying that.
So we've lost the First Amendment now too.
Well, duh.
And so she wants this dude investigated for telling the truth, basically.
Well, hang on. Let's see what the Founding Fathers had to say. Okay, forget Larry Pratt for a second and forget Maloney for a second. Let's see what the Founding Fathers had to say. Okay, here's one from Thomas Jefferson. Quote, "The beauty of the Second Amendment is that it will not be needed until they try to take it," from Thomas Jefferson. An even more famous quote from Thomas Jefferson, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." All right. That's from TJ there. Let's talk about James Madison. What did James Madison? You guys remember him? That was Dolly's husband. You guys didn't know that Dolly Madison didn't just make cakes; that she was the wife of our president, right? Right? Okay. And James Madison says, the Constitution preserves the advantage of being armed, which Americans possess over the people of almost every other nation, where the governments are afraid to trust the people with arms. Sounds like James Madison's down with us having guns. Let's talk about Alexander Hamilton. The Constitution shall never be construed to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms, said Alexander Hamilton. Well, all right. Well, let's see. I'm gonna drop the trump card here. A free people ought not only to be armed but disciplined, to which end a uniform and well-digested plan is requisite, and their safety and interest require that they should promote such manufactories as tend, George, you're killing me here, as tend to render them independent of others for essential, particularly military supplies. And you're like, wow, Paul, you just killed George Washington's quote there. I know, but
I heard him turning in his grave.
I know. A free people ought not only to be armed, but disciplined, to which end a uniform and well-digested plan is requisite, and their safety and interest require that they should promote such manufactories as tend to render them independent of others for essential, particularly military supplies. All right, what George Washington is saying in that 1781, 1770 kind of speak there is, hey, hippie, you need to have your own guns and your own ammunition and not rely upon other people to give it to you. Are we down with that? So maybe somebody might want to hip Carolyn Maloney, who now, when you become a representative of the United States of America, you go to the Congress, you go to the House of Representatives up there in D.C., do they actually require that you read the Constitution of the United States of America?
Apparently not.
Do you have to read the Declaration of Independence? Do you have to read the Bill of Rights? Do you have to actually – maybe they have staffers that read that stuff for them so they don't have to worry about actually reading it. Hey, Carolyn, there's this little thing called the First Amendment, and the First Amendment is not there to protect speech that everybody agrees upon. It's the exact opposite. The First Amendment is there to protect the speech that you might not agree with. But there are a whole lot of people that I respect much more than you who think that Larry Pratt was right on there and he's onto something. Matter of fact, Larry really isn't onto anything so much as he's just repeating the sentiment of our founding fathers who created that body that you now take up space and suck valuable oxygen out of. Hey, Jared, let me take a sip of my drink here while you talk to the fans.
I was just, it's ridiculous that these people, such as Carolyn Maloney here, I said such as, and remind me of the
are you
Miss South Carolina?
You don't have a map?
Yeah, I don't.
Do you have a map?
I don't know where the Iraq is. But anyway, back to Carolyn Maloney here. It disgusts me that people like this have the ability to make it to office. I don't understand.
Well, what do we talk about? There are some districts in the United States of America where if you put a capital D behind someone, you could put a capital D behind a desk lamp and they would get elected to Congress. And I think a desk lamp might have a little more ability to read the Constitution than Carolyn Maloney apparently has, because she thinks that the words that Larry Pratt said need to be investigated. What are we going to charge him with? We're going to charge him with retelling history, of referencing the founding fathers. Is that what we're going to do? So, Carolyn, shut and sit down. We don't want to hear any more from you. All right, moving on. Oh, this one, Jared. This is I don't really want to say that we have a "see, I told you so" moment, because there's someone much bigger than I, with much larger shoes than I could fill, who has "see, I told you so" moments. But this kind of is. This is a, "oh, you mean plastic signs don't work" moment. Now, we've shared these with you a lot, and especially hospitals. First of all, in the year 2014, or in the modern era, hospitals like to refer to themselves now as a campus. That's the new hippie thing to say. They refer to the facility as the campus. I don't understand that. It's not an institute of learning, but every hospital that you encounter now, they call themselves a campus. And here in Gulfport, Mississippi, what's the name of that hospital that you get your shoulder worked on?
Garden Park.
Garden Park. They have a huge, and what is it? The huge is like, the sign's like 4 foot by 6 foot.
I don't know. I've
their
never
no
seen
gun
it.
sign. Oh, you've never seen it?
Oh, they have one?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
And it says, this is a weapons-free campus, not just gun-free, but weapons. And not only that, but it is a weapons-free and tobacco-free campus. So you can't even cross that little white line with like Skoal in your pocket, because if you do, the SWAT team's going to jump out of the helicopter and nail you. But so here we have this story was brought. This first story comes to us from policeone.com. And it's kind of ironic because I got both of these stories sent to me by different people in the span of 1 week, but they both involve hospital campuses. It says, and this is a video. Obviously, you guys can't see video, but the story that accompanies it says, the North Park Police Department has released surveillance footage capturing the shooting of a gunman by an adult probation and parole agent at a hospital on May 16th. You're like, no, hold on a second. Can we pretty much put money on the fact that this hospital located somewhere near North Logan, Utah, Jared, do you think it was a gun-free campus?
I would assume so, since most hospitals are. I think all hospitals are. Actually,
well, yeah, they're run by hippies. They're run by liberal do-gooders. So here we have the Herald Journal reports that 34-year-old Jason Burr entered the Cache Valley Hospital demanding to see a doctor. When he was confronted by a security officer, Burr reportedly told him, "Someone is going to die today." Whoa. Well, that's not nice. He pulled out 2 handguns. Oh, dude. He pulled out a 9mm and a .38 caliber Derringer. The Rolling Stone was right. Derringers are one of the top 5 most dangerous guns in America. I literally have not seen a Derringer referenced in a crime story in I don't even know how long. And here it is. He was confronted by 2 probation and parole agents who were watching over an inmate being treated at the hospital. One of them fired 3 shots at Burr after he refused to drop his weapons and pointed them at them. Burr was subdued immediately and transported to the emergency room, which is, I guess, if you're going to get shot down, being shot down inside of a hospital is probably the best place to do it. It says he was shot in the left arm, the right side of his groin, and the left side of his chest.
That's some awesome accuracy there.
Well, come on, cut him a break. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. But well, what do we know here? Well, we know that gun-free zones are bullcrap, and that crazy people, bad people, evil people don't care about your stupid shiny sign with the little, no guns, no weapons. They don't care that your campus is weapons-free, moron.
Actually, I disagree. I think they do care because they don't want the people in the place that they're going to rob or terrorize to be armed.
Well, from the story, since the security officer who confronted him did not ventilate him, I'm going to go ahead and guess that security officer was not in possession of the tool with which he would have needed to ventilate said douchebag. So apparently the dude's going to live because he got shot in a hospital and they took him directly to the ER. He's been charged with attempted aggravated robbery, 3 counts of attempted assault with a dangerous weapon, 2 counts of purchase of a firearm by a restricted person. You mean this guy was restricted from possessing guns and he was able to get them anyway?
What's all the freedom-loving people that have their guns? That's why these restricted people get theirs.
It's not the criminal's fault. It's your fault for wanting to have guns. If you would just be willing to give up your guns, then there would be no guns for bad people to walk into hospitals with and threaten people. So it is your fault for clinging to your guns and your liberty, and you just need to get your head right, and you need to let it go. Okay? So we got failure number 1 of gun-free zone. And the thing is it's just a coincidence that there were armed good guys that happened to be there. What would have happened if these 2 parole/probation agents wouldn't have been there? I don't know. Probably good people. According to Burr, he said someone is going to die today. So, usually you want to take them at their word when they make that kind of a threat. That's that whole ability, opportunity, intent thing. You say, well, how did you know that he meant to do you harm? Well, he walked in, pulled out a gun, and said someone's going to die today. Okay, we'll take that as intent. What do you think? Now, this next one, the first one there from Utah hasn't seen that many headlines, and it's not really national news. But this next one, this story was probably sent to me maybe 3 or 4 times this week. And it says, doctor fired at gunman in hospital attack. And the story comes to us from the Associated Press, from the AP. And what's really funny or interesting to me is in the digital story here, it's Yahoo News reprinted this AP story. And they have one of those little computer-generated what the scene probably looked like cartoons where they have, basically the faceless little image, and they like when they recreate stuff in court when they don't actually have pictures or video of what happened. And this was in Darby, Pennsylvania. This is a psychiatrist who was grazed by gunfire from a patient in suburban Philadelphia hospital Thursday helped stop the gunman by apparently you have to love the Associated Press. It says, by apparently using his own weapon to shoot and wound him.
Like, that's surprising.
Well, no, apparently he did. Well, let me see. You have bad guy ventilated. He wasn't ventilated with his own gun. He was ventilated with a gun. So they're like, apparently he used his own gun to shoot and wound him. Well, yeah, it is pretty apparent since that's exactly what happened, you morons. But not before a caseworker was killed. Now, this is the crazy thing, is this guy, this Looney Tune, walked into the doctor's office and got into an argument with him. And we have a large, aggressive male psycho who was accompanied into the psychiatrist's office by a smaller female caseworker. And so they get into an argument. He wants, I don't know, whatever he wants. He wants to be ventilated. And the guy pulls out a gun and he starts waving it around. And he shoots and grazes the doctor. The doctor is able to fish out his own gun and shoot the dude. The dude goes down. Other people come in and they subdue him. But he was not able to do that before the psycho turned the gun on the caseworker. And the caseworker has expired. She's no longer with us. Now, what did we learn about this? Number one, if this doctor would have followed the rules, if he would have decided, you know what, I can't risk being caught with my own gun because this is a gun-free campus. I could lose my job. I could lose my license. That's what people say. Good guys, all of you people out there, all you folks, what you'll do is you'll talk yourself out of being armed. You'll say, I know I should be. I know it's the right thing to do. I know I'm responsible for my own safety. However, my work, my place of business has posted signs. They've gone into the employee manual and they created a policy that says that employees are forbidden to possess any kind of weapon at any time. And so you say to yourself, well, chances are nothing bad will ever happen. Or I can't risk losing my job. Can you risk losing your life? How many people would be dead today in that hospital if that doctor would not have had his own gun? One person is dead, one innocent person is dead, and that's sad. However, how many innocent people would be dead if only the bad guy had a gun? I don't know. How many bullets did he have in his gun? I can only imagine more than one. It wasn't a 38 caliber Derringer in this case. But folks, I know it sucks. I know it's a difficult world we live in. I know we have to make hard choices. I know that you're out there and you're struggling and you're saying, but you don't understand, Paul. I can't risk losing my job. You know what? Go for it. It's your life. Live it as you want. But ask yourself this. Do you ever want to be in a position where you wished you would have had it, but you don't? Well, it's easy for you to say. No, it's not easy for me to say. I've been there. I've been at places where you were forcibly disarmed, where you were disarmed either by policy or by metal detector, and I never felt comfortable. And you know what I do? I deliberately stay away from those places. Well, it's about choices. Life is about choices. And, this guy is being lauded as a hero. But on the other hand, if the janitor would have knocked over this guy's desk or pulled out a drawer and they'd have seen the gun, rather than being lauded as a hero, they probably would have tried to fire him and make him lose his license and all that. Because why? Because people in America, other than you and I, are a bunch of freaking sheep, and they're more scared of the object than they are of the maniacs wielding the objects. And we're glad that this guy, we're glad that he prevailed. We're glad that he stopped the bad guy from hurting any more people than he did. And what does that show you? Two examples there, back to back. The absolute and total failure of the gun-free zone policy. And it's only because this doctor decided that his life was worth more than a plastic sign or a policy statement that he's alive today and that other people are alive today. So I know it sucks. I know it's difficult. I know you have hard choices to make. But you know what? You're an adult. You're an American citizen. It's time to nut up and start making some hard choices. Who told you that your life was always going to be comfortable? Who told you that? Who told you that you were always going to have easy choices and easy decisions in your life? Who told you that? They lied. Life is not about easy choices and comfort. Sometimes it's about being uncomfortable. Sometimes life is about making hard choices. You're an adult. Make the hard choice. You want to have some fun now, Jared?
Yeah, let's have some fun.
All right, have some fun. Cue up our buddy.
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that's where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
I don't know about you, but that always brings a smile to my face. Our vagination report from our friend Tiny Tim. Now, this one comes to us again from the Examiner.com, and the title of this story is Iowa City Council to Consider Banning Open Carry of Toy Guns.
So
what?
If they consider banning open carry of toy guns, what can they not ban?
I don't know. It says, if the city of Burlington, Iowa has its way, children will not be allowed to openly carry toy guns in public without, check this out, in public without written permission from city authorities. Sweet Buddha on a rubber raft. This story actually, ladies and gentlemen, really depresses me. It makes me sad because, well, not only is it completely off the charts stupid, but I've been to Burlington, Iowa, and I haven't just been there like as a tourist. I actually worked in Burlington, Iowa for about 4 months, maybe a little bit more than 4 months, several years back, about a decade ago, during the Caterpillar strike against Case. And it was back when I was doing professional bodyguard work, and I worked for some of the executives there along with another guy in Burlington. And I really enjoyed my time in Burlington, Iowa. It was a very nice small town. I have very fond memories of my time in Burlington, Iowa, and it makes me sad that they've gone full retard like this in Burlington at the city council.
Well, you would think that, okay, they're not allowed to open carry their toy guns, so they could just put it in their pocket, right? Nope.
No, it says the Mayor Shane McCampbell unapologetically defended the proposal as, quote, forward thinking. If the measure passes, children will not be allowed to play with or bring toy guns, including spring-loaded, compressed air or other BB guns, airsoft guns, paintball guns, pellet guns, replica firearms onto any public street, highway, alley, sidewalk, public way, public ground, public building without written permission of the council. The measure also includes automobiles, meaning children could not bring toy guns in a family car without written approval of the council.
Wow. Is your car not an extension of your home?
Apparently not in Burlington, Iowa. It is not.
So they can't have them open. They can't play with them in open public.
Any public way.
I remember when I was in
public street,
elementary
public alley,
school,
public way, public sidewalk.
Yeah, I remember when I was in elementary school and middle school, we would have like pellet gun wars with each other. I don't know if you knew that or not, but we took your pellet guns and we would
the airsoft guns.
Yeah,
not pellet guns.
Yeah.
Airsoft guns. Yeah.
We used to have our airsoft gun wars.
Yeah, if you were shooting each other with like 400 feet per second lead pellets,
we would have done that once probably.
Yeah. No, the airsoft guns that shoot little 6mm plastic babies.
Yeah. And so we were out in our public streets and nobody had a problem with it, but now they can't openly carry them. They can't put them in their pocket. They can't take them in their car with their family. This is ridiculous.
Listen to how full retard the police chief has gone. Sorry, chief, but this is a retard statement on your – and if that hurts your feelings, too bad. Go listen to some namby-pamby wussy show because this isn't one of them. According to the chief, this is a quote from the chief, it's a proposal to conceal these guns in a proper case. They make those cases at all the department stores, and whether you're walking or in a vehicle, you'd be expected to case these guns. They're toys, you moron. You're telling me that parents are supposed to go out and buy Plano cases and padded gun cases to put little Jimmy's airsoft pellet gun in it, or any type of – they've got a photo that accompanies this, and the little crumb crunchers hold one of those multicolored toy guns with the orange and green and red and blue and all that jazz on them. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, if you'd have handed me one of those things with all the colors on it, first thing I'd have done is I'd have gone and find some green or brown or black paint, and I would have painted that sucker because that's just totally vag-tastic. And when I was 8 years old and we were playing Army out in my buddy's backyard, we never would have used a orange or day-glow green or yellow gun because we weren't vaginas back then. We were men.
You know what
we were men in training.
I figured out what this is. This is, instead of them correcting the way the police train, they're going to take the toy guns from the kids so they don't shoot the kids.
Yeah, you know what, Jared? You're spot on. This is the whole, oops, cops are shooting kids that are holding toy guns. So what do we need to do? Well, we don't need to train the police better. We don't need to go through that whole ability, opportunity, and intent training. We don't need to teach police officers not to just shoot any person that's holding an object that appears that it may be a gun, because that's what's going on right now in the United States of America. What we're going to do is the solution is to punish the public. The solution is to take away more freedom from the citizen. You understand that, right, Jared? Well, you citizens have way too much freedom, and you just need to be reasonable and allow the state to dictate your behavior. How is it that I'll go ahead and go back to the 70s, 76, 77, 75, 4, whatever. When I was a little crumb cruncher, when I was an elementary school kid, me and my buddy Jeff Bissonette, and Jeff, if you're out there, hey, brother, haven't talked to you in 20 years, but hope you're doing well. Our favorite thing to do was to, quote, play Army. That's what we called it, play an Army. You know, the bang, you're dead, I got you. You got to count to 10, then you get back up. Jeff lived right next door to my grandparents, and every time, summertime, springtime, fall, if it was nice outside, we were out running around the neighborhood. We were running back and forth through our backyards. We were making forts. We were hiding in the garages. And what did we have? We had a toy chest full of toy guns, little black M16 type guns and Tommy guns and handguns and all kinds of stuff. Hey, Jared, guess what?
What?
I didn't get shot by the St. Clair Shores police. I know you're like, how is that possible? They didn't even have orange tips on toy guns back then. How did you not get shot by the police? Well, maybe because the police weren't morons back then. And maybe because people actually raised their children properly back then. And maybe because we didn't have to worry about little, one-parent home psychopath kids that are on all kinds of ADD and freaking psychiatric medicine from flipping out. Maybe that was it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a crazy person. But this kind of insanity, this kind of statism, what we need more laws and more rules because we can't be expected to behave ourselves. So we're going to punish the citizen. That's the solution. Putting more on the citizen. We need to put the cork in this one there, Jared.
Yeah, it's time to.
Jared's giving me on the other side of the glass, he's giving me the wrap it up hand. All right, well, let's do the wrap it up hand. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for part 2 of this week's episode. Now, I'm going to go ahead and announce something. I know it's going to hurt some of your feelings, but that's just too bad. You need to nut up and be an adult. We are coming back for part 3. That's right, there's a part 3, but the part 3 is for our subscribers. If you would like to subscribe, and if you'd like to, you can go to studentofthegunradio.com, right, Jared?
Yeah.
Go to studentofthegunradio.com.
Look in the show notes.
There. Look in the show notes. Click, and you can subscribe, and you can get a bonus hour. We're going to be doing a bonus hour. Not only are we doing a bonus hour where I go off the chain a little bit more than normal, not only are we going to do that, but we have some special material that we can deliver. And that's a great thing about the Gumroad setup is if you are a subscriber, we can deliver you audio material, we can deliver you video material, we can deliver you PDF files, all that stuff directly to you. Am I correct, Jared? Am I speaking
You are
correctly?
correct. Yeah, I could deliver anything to you.
Not except a pizza.
Well, I mean, I could probably call your local
We
pizza
do a digital
place.
pizza.
Yeah.
But we can deliver all this material directly to you because you are a direct subscriber to our Student of the Gun feed there. And the Gumroad feed is also where you can find the Armed Living DVD available via direct download stream or direct stream. So don't forget about Student of the Gun TV, which is what? Monday nights at 9 Eastern on channel 266. That's the Hunt channel on Dish. And Dish also has a Roku app. It's brand new. Not Dish, I'm sorry. Hunt has a Roku app. It's brand new. You can watch us on Wild Wilderness TV, TV Gone Wild. You can listen here, there, and anywhere. And don't forget to, Jared, next week, are we going to do the full launch of the next contest?
Yeah, we'll do that next week.
Okay. We're all the time giving away free stuff, and it is time to give away a bunch of more free stuff. And we do that to our listeners, our active listeners and our active subscribers, because we got to get your name from somewhere. I know there's a lot of you out there listening right now, but I don't know who you are. But our subscribers, we do know who you are. If you go to studentofthegun.com, and over there on the right-hand side, you sign up for the Student of the Gun newsletter. You get the free report, the one-box workout immediately as soon as you sign up. You get access to our exclusive links for our subscribers, so you can watch the video. It's good stuff. It costs you nothing. All it costs you is the investment of your first name and your email address, and then you have to verify it. That's it. So lots of good stuff coming up. You want to make sure that you're signed up for studentofthegun.com for our newsletter because we're going to be giving away some really cool gear from Blackhawk, and that's the teaser I'm going to give you. We're going to give away some really cool Blackhawk gear starting next week. Now, for those of you that are subscribers and you're down with part 3, I will be right back. Don't forget, you're a beginner once, you're a student for life.